Hi, everyone. I decided to come on a couple minutes early because um, being live is new for me. And I had set this up days before because I wanted it to advertise that I was going to be live today. Then when I went in today to get going, it was telling me I needed to connect I don't know. It was a huge mess. So I think we're live. I think it's on the video that I posted, the promotion for it. So hopefully we're all in the right place. I was going to pull up my Facebook post because there was a question on there, which was wonderful. And so I thought we would kind of just get started casual. I've got my tea and I'm going to show you a couple of things and talk about a couple of things. And then if anyone pops on and asks questions, we'll answer it. And if not, maybe we'll make this a regular thing. I sort of thought about doing this because there is a Blythe customization group on Facebook if you are unfamiliar. And a lot of times there are the same questions as new people find Blythe. And a lot of times if I answer them, I just link them to my YouTube. But I think sometimes that's a little impersonal. So I also see a lot of times really basic questions or really straightforward questions that don't require a full-length video to explain. So I thought maybe it would be fun to give people the opportunity to hop on and ask quick questions. I also now have had my YouTube channel for a bit of time. So I thought maybe there's questions about me. I know a lot of YouTubers that I watch do Q&As and people ask a lot of personal questions, not like inappropriate personal questions, but just questions about the creator. So I thought if anyone's interested in knowing anything about me, then feel free to ask those questions as well. So before we get started with any of that, I thought I would mention a little bit about Blythe versus Blythe. So if you've been on my channel for a while, you know what Blythe versus Blythe is, but if you haven't and you're new here, Blythe versus Blythe is a virtual Blythe convention that I have held for several years and decided this next event, which is next month in March, is going to be the last one for now. I have a lot of other things coming up this year and some really exciting doll related things to announce that I'm not ready to announce quite yet. And I just need to take a break from the amount of effort that goes into that event. So if you haven't joined in, this is probably your last chance to do so. I'm not going to say I'm never going to do another one because I do enjoy it so much, but for now it's the last one. So it's starting on Monday. You do have to pay to join, but there's all kinds of fun games and there's a vendor week, a shopping week, and there is a customization contest where someone's going to win a custom doll. Lots of prizes, lots of fun. It's a month-long event, jam-packed full of stuff. There's a calendar so you can keep track of all the fun stuff. And so one of the things that I do, it's partly how I support the group financially because it takes up my entire month and sometimes many weeks before that planning it. Elizabeth, it's Blythe versus Blythe. Yeah, okay, you saw it. So there is a website, blytheversusblythe.com, where you can sign up and check out all the info, who's participating, yada, yada. The event is hosted on Facebook. So anyway, there is something called membership packages. And so this is something I put together that's optional for the members to purchase. And oh, that's loud. All the things included in the packages are themed around the event. So the theme for this event is the future of Blythe. Where is Blythe going? And we're kind of also loosely theming around space and futuristic, which is really, really fun. So these membership packages all are sort of themed. And so last night I started working on the pull strings that will go in the packages. So I thought I would show you. So I got some cool aliens and some space themed beads. So I started making these last night, and I never was a beader, but I really enjoy this. It's really soothing hobby, but it's time consuming for sure. So I thought I would show you those. This is one element of the packages that are created for the members. And then normally in past events, my friend Cheryl helped put together the larger packages. So the packages come in different price ranges depending on what's inside of them. So there's a higher one that has a full outfit and includes everything, all the way down to the smaller package, which is less expensive and has maybe just a t-shirt. Yes, Jane, anyone can join. We are a worldwide group. We have members from all over the world, from South Africa to Germany, everywhere. The only thing I'll mention, if you are international, is that due to it being a virtual group, a lot of the events kind of revolve around my time zone, although we do have stuff happening all the time, and some events go on for 24 hours, some games do. So the only complaint that I've had from international members is sometimes missing out or feeling like they're not there. And unfortunately, that's just really hard with time zones. But for the most part, we do the best we can. And we have lots of international members who've been with us every event. So the other thing about international is it is a group that is in English. So, you're always free to reach out and get help if you don't understand what's going on. But I imagine if you don't have, and I know, Jane, you're from the UK, so that's not an issue. But for anyone else, if that's difficult for you, it might be hard. But again, we have people from Thailand and all over, so it's good. So just check out the website if you're interested in joining. So anyway, my friend Cheryl used to always make the big packages. And unfortunately, this event, she couldn't, and it was really sad. So I am putting together the larger packages, and the good news is I've been doing clothing now for a while. So, I think they're going to be great. It's more that I loved having someone help me do it because it's a lot of work. But I want to show you just sort of where I'm at with the clothing sets for this event. So I've got some alien hats in a bunch of different colors. And then I'm making these space-themed dresses. They've got a little alien on there. She's got an alien in her pocket. And some really cool, like, holographic tights. And I'm just waiting on the shoes that are going to go with the outfit. So anyway, I decided, oh boy, there went our alien. I just thought I would give you a sneak peek of the membership packages. Again, these are something that are optional for members to purchase, but I'm really excited about them. They're one of my favorite things, even though they're a lot of work. I love putting together themed sets, so it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see a bunch of you are here commenting, and Jane did ask one question at the top, so I want to address it since it's supposed to be a Q&A, and she asked a question, and it's a good question. She asked, how did I get into collecting dolls? So I would say I have been a doll collector my entire life. When I was a really little girl, I was obsessed with Cabbage Patch Kids, and that I would say was my first collection, probably as like a, I don't know, I got my first Cabbage Patch when I was 5, so pretty much as far back as I can remember. And I always was the kind of kid that kind of liked to collect and display stuff. I didn't like, when you get like the My Little Ponies or the dolls and their hair would be perfectly curled, I never wanted to comb it out. I always kept it that way. And hi, Charisse. And so I think I was a collector from the beginning. And so as I got older, I never really gave up dolls. I definitely went through a phase probably in my teen years where I hid it or didn't really collect as much. I do remember a point in my life being embarrassed about my dolls, which now I don't really care. But anyway, so I think I've always been a doll collector. When I got to my 20s, well, actually, my late teens, I dated my boyfriend and he was really into collecting too. And so we would go to flea markets and collect vintage toys. So that was a period of time. I had a lot of strawberry shortcake and 80s toys, mostly toys that him and I had grown up with. So we did that a lot. And I still have some of those collections still. And then I sort of evolved in my 20s to making reborns and Raggedy Ann, like cloth Raggedy Ann dolls. Um, so that was my first foray into making dolls, were reborns and cloth Raggedy Anns. But I never felt great at making reborns. I see some reborns, and I mean, my talent just wasn't there. And maybe it would have been if I would have kept going, but I just kind of moved on to cloth dolls and sewing dolls. And so I did that for many years. So I have, you guys have seen on my channel that I do pepper in cloth dolls once in a while because I do still make them. I sell patterns for them and make them occasionally. I don't heavily focus there anymore. But I did that for many years until in 2017, I returned to Blythe. So I had Blythe back in 2007, I think, just a stock doll. But in 2017, I was more introduced to customizing. It was more of an established hobby. And I started my first one back then. Well, actually, I think it was 2016 was when I really started, at the end of 2016. Hold on, I need some tea. Okay, so I started with Blythe. My shop originally started out as just selling eyes. And then I saw the need for the US to have another supplier of Blythe supplies because of the wait time to get things from overseas. So I have been on this mission to kind of expand this shop. So that's where I'm at now. And honestly, I like all types of dolls. I'm not just focused on Blythe. I still like reborns. I was obsessing over a reborn I saw yesterday, which I know is not everybody's cup of tea. But I think I'll always love baby dolls from all the way back to Cabbage Patch Kids. I still have my very first Cabbage Patch Kid. So yeah, so that was a long-winded story of how I got into collecting dolls. Okay, another good question. Have I ever done a doll reroute? Yes, I have. The third Blythe doll that I made, or was it the second? I think it was the second. I did a reroute on, and kind of decided I would never do a full-size Blythe reroute again. So I've done a couple middies, and I've done a petite. I think I did a petite. Or was it Dulcina? I think it was Dulcina reroutes. And I do have an old video on my channel of a midi reroute if you're interested in watching it. I don't think it's the best done video. Reroutes just take a really long time. I mean, they're actually kind of fun to do and soothing, work if you want to turn on a show and just kind of sit and do that. But I've just gotten so busy that, I mean, even working on it consistently for me took several weeks to probably about a month. So it just takes a really long time. So I don't really do them anymore. However, I really do like the look of them. So I would highly suggest there is a Russian shop on Etsy that sells reroutes, and I've purchased one from her. They're really well done. And they're extremely low priced, which makes me feel guilty in a way because I know that they should be charging a lot more. But that's what she charges. And I'm assuming it's a woman. So I'm sorry if not. So if you're looking for reroutes and you don't have the time or the will to do it yourself, look for that shop. I can post a link later or message me somewhere and I will send you a link. I've sent her shop to lots of people. I just heard a thump at my front door, so I hope it's not a package. um, okay, another question. That's awesome. You guys are bringing up questions right when I get done with one. How do you display your Blythe? So unfortunately, I don't display my Blythe dolls. And this is going to bring in another question that was asked on my Facebook. So let me answer that one first. So someone asked on my Facebook, who is my favorite customizer other than myself? I've never really found an artist that likes collecting their own work. So I don't have any dolls that I've customized that aren't either for sale or sold. So there's that. I don't collect my own dolls. And my favorite customizer is Bad Rabbit. And I don't believe they're customizing anymore. So that's a big bummer. And I don't have one of their dolls either. I actually only own 2 Blythe dolls. And that is sad. But I think part of it is because, again, it's hard for me to want to collect something that I feel like I may be able to do. So the Blythe dolls that I'm drawn to are very unique, I think. So Bad Rabbit, my other favorite customizer is, and I'm not sure how you say it. I think it's Samchawi. I don't know. And I feel horrible and I could look it up. But they're Chinese, I believe, and their dolls. I actually was considering buying one with my stimulus, and I talked myself out of it. So yeah, Samchai 2526. That's their shop name. They're in Thailand. Sorry. Should look these things up before I start blabbing. So I really want one of their dolls. I really want an old Bad Rabbit. And if I come across either of those at a time that I can spend the money, I will get them. However, one thing about me personally, if anyone's interested, hi Wanda, I know you have one of their dolls. I wanted that one that Wanda bought. It was sold secondhand on Facebook. But one of the things you should maybe know about me and understand why I don't is because I have not been collecting for several years now. So I've been working really hard on my personal finances to pay off my student loans and make some bigger life changes for myself. So I really haven't bought any dolls. But that being said, because I know I've said this on my channel before, a lot of dolls have still come into my life. I won a BJD Connie Lowe doll, which was amazing. I've won other giveaways and I've traded with a couple of people. So I've been gifted a couple of dolls. So I feel like that is enough for me right now. But if I buy a doll, it will be one of those most likely. If I have a Blythe in my collection, it will be one of those. And I'm hoping, I'm making some big things happening in the next couple of months. So I'm hoping that I may be able to buy a doll this year. We'll see. So the long answer to that is that I don't have really any Blythe dolls. The ones that I do have, I have 2. One is a Spooky Kids Workshop. That one was a trade. And the other one, I can't remember the artist's name. They are no longer customizing, and it was many years ago that they gifted it to me prior to me customizing. So I can't remember or give any information on that. But I do have lots of other dolls, and I also don't really display them. I have my Connie Lowe doll on display. She sits above my work table with some other little trinkets. But part of the problem is I live in a very small apartment. I actually had to get the square footage for taxes yesterday, and my apartment is 600 square feet. So it's really small. There is nowhere for me to display dolls. So they are all stored away, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that within the next year or 2 that I will be able to move somewhere bigger and be able to display more dolls. The only other thing to say about that is I'm not really someone who likes a lot. I mean, you can see I have some cute boxes with some toys in it behind me, and I do that kind of around my house. But I used to have an entire room in my house that was like floor to ceiling displays of 80s toys. And I don't think I ever want to return to that. I would love to incorporate more dolls into a larger space, but I don't think I want to just have a room that is just full. That kind of dust and chaos. Well, I guess it's not really chaos, but it's too overwhelming for me. So I kind of like that things are small and I can get them out and enjoy them when I feel like it. So I don't display. But if I were to display them, if you're looking for creative ideas, some of the things that I would love to do are like wall dioramas. So just like these little boxes back here would be fun to do larger and do scenes. I mean, one of the dreams of mine is to have a space to build dioramas and set up more elaborate displays for photography and things like that. And right now, again, with such a small apartment, it takes hours to set that kind of stuff up. Then there's nowhere to store it. So it's just not something I can do right now. So I don't see any other questions coming through. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions? Because if not, I'm going to just keep rambling about some other things. Let me see if anyone has any on the post. So, okay, well, if you think of something, comment. I'm going to share a couple more things, sneak peeks about Blythe versus Blythe. One of the things that I was working on right before we got on here was, and I have not shared this with the group yet, so it's going to be secret to all of you guys. The secret is out. One of the things that I've really wanted to do on Blythe versus Blythe is I'm a huge fan of Project Runway. Anybody else fan of Project Runway? I'm not a huge fan of reality TV. It's really the only reality TV show that I watch. And I'm not a huge fan of some of the negative parts of it. There have been some fashion shows that have come out since then that I think are done much better as far as positivity. However, I still have watched all the seasons of Project Runway because I love the creativity. I'm not even a huge fashion person, but I just love the way that the competition pushes creativity. And that's part of the mission behind Blythe versus Blythe is to push creativity, to put customizers in situations that they may not have chosen, to see what kind of creativity comes out of that. And it's been super successful. So one of the things that I've always wanted to duplicate that is sort of is a routine on Project Runway is the, what's it called? The Unconventional Materials Challenge. So if you don't know that show, basically what happens is the contestants have to go into like a garbage area or a party store or some out of the ordinary location and pick materials to create their fashion. They can only use those materials. So I've always wanted to recreate this, and because it's the last event, I'm like, I have to do it. We did a fashion show, a couple events in the past, but it wasn't the unconventional material one. So I went to the store the other day, and the reason I'm pointing down here is because my entire living room floor is covered in these materials. And I'm creating these packages that the members that want to participate in this event will receive it in the mail from me, and then they will have to create a fashion piece for their doll using only the materials that they receive. And they are only allowed to add constructing materials like thread or glue, and otherwise they have to use what they receive. And I am so excited for this event, and I'm so hoping that it goes really well, and I'm hoping a lot of people participate. So if you're wondering what happens on Blythe versus Blythe, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Really creative, fun, unique things to do with each other. And they go on the entire month. So we also have demos, which are always really fun to learn something, how to do something. So it is really like a live convention that you would attend. So you've got vendors, you've got workshops, and you've got games and prizes. So what more do you want, right? Okay, couple questions came through. Awesome. Wanda said, have you ever customized a boy Blythe? I think it was the last video, or yeah, the last video I did. I mentioned that I've done one boy Blythe, and he was a giveaway on Blythe versus Blythe. And my friend Lynn won him. And so she recently sent him back up here to me so I could use him as a model for an outfit that I just put together. So yes, I've done one. I'm hoping to do more. I kind of felt inspired the other day to maybe do some more gender neutral dolls. And so I kind of was getting inspired in my head and thinking, I don't know if the very next doll I do will be that, but I have kind of a vision. So I'm foreseeing that coming. I think when we're talking about the future of Blythe or the future of dolls in general, I think that's a theme that would make sense to me is, most of you all that know me from Blythe versus Blythe know that I'm a huge advocate for dolls should be a welcoming space for everyone, no matter your background, no matter your gender, no matter your religion, I don't know, all those things that divide us. And I've always tried to keep Blythe versus Blythe a very safe space for everyone. And it has been that on the group. There's always things that happen off the groups. But so I think about that a lot. I think about that theme a lot. I think about it in dolls a lot. Blythe is very underrepresented with skin colors. This is a hot button topic in the Blythe world because you cannot get authentic dolls in a wide range of skin colors, particularly the very dark skin colors. Those only are available in fakes, which is, again, a hot button topic. Let's not go there. We're going to try to keep everything friendly here today. But anyway, so to me, the future of dolls and Blythe is inclusivity. I think we're moving out of the days of feeling like, dolls are only for girls or dolls are only for white women. Again, I've been in the doll community in one way or another for a long time. And you see people make comments like, if I make, here I go. I said I wasn't going to go there, but now all of a sudden I'm going there. But you see people say like, they're dolls of color don't sell as well as white dolls, and that's just rubbish. I know that anecdotally that may seem true, but I think if you look at the history of dolls in general, the communities haven't always been super inclusive, and it's almost like assumed there aren't Black doll collectors, and they're everywhere. I have lots of them as customers, and they're underrepresented. So to me, again, since we're on the topic, the future is inclusivity. So that's what I want to see, and that's what I want to attempt to offer, at least sometimes, in my dolls. So that was a long-winded answer to have I made a boy Blythe. The other one was, how difficult is it to get started customizing? I don't think it's difficult. I don't think it's that expensive either. But there are some things that I would say I would really consider before deciding to get into Blythe customizing. And I have a video, I think it's called something like making Blythe dolls is not for kids or something. I don't know. I was attempting to address dangers and liability concerns. Also, for one of the things I encountered this last year is a lot of Christmas shopping in my shop. So family members buying supplies for potentially children, not understanding the hobby. And so watch that video if you're interested in learning more about getting started. But the things that I would just be ready to kind of know about if you want to get started customizing is the safety concerns. So the process of sanding the doll and spraying the doll and painting the doll, all of that stuff is toxic. So you do want to protect yourself with the proper equipment, which is a mask, which is a little bit difficult right now because it's hard to get the appropriate mask. If you didn't have it prior to the pandemic, it's hard to get it right now, which is a bummer. Um, Luckily, I had one, and so I haven't had to deal with any of that acquiring anything else. But at some point, I'm going to need filters. So anyway, so there's that to think about. Of course, a lot of people don't use protection, but I think you definitely want to. The other thing is it's not easy. It truly is not easy to customize. That being said, you don't have to go, you might see a beautiful custom from an artist that you like and you think, I want to try to do that. And then you try to do that and yours looks nothing like it and you're very frustrated and sad. I would highly recommend not going at it like, I'm going to be able to make this custom like this artist. Most of the artists that are selling customs, especially the more well-known or the higher prices, they've been doing it for several years. They've perfected their craft. I would say you need at least a year, at least, to get to a point where you are pretty satisfied with your carving. So my recommendation is to start as slow as possible. Maybe do some light customizations. I have lots of videos about that where you don't do any carving because that is just as fun, changing the eyes and the body and the hair and haircuts. And there's a lot you can do without going full into carving. If carving is your ultimate goal, again, you can start slow. Don't try to do an open mouth your first go around. Just try to do a simple lip. I have a video that is available for purchase. I'm working on a new tutorial video. I have lots of videos. I'm hoping that when the pandemic is over, prior to the pandemic, right before the pandemic hit, I think it was in like January or February, I was looking to start in-person workshops because I know there's a lot of people that learn better when someone is showing them or they're just being able to get instant feedback. So I was working really hard. I was working with a hotel here where I live to try to figure out if we'd be able to handle some of the toxic stuff. So could people spray outside? And I'd found the perfect place and then the pandemic happened and that. However, I've already started working on that for future planning. Hopefully 2022, we're going to be able to start that planning back up. My goal is to maybe move around the country, a couple places a year, and do some live workshops. So that's coming to hopefully. So yeah, as far as getting going, I think you just one, protect yourself, make sure you have the right equipment, and then don't put a lot of pressure on yourself to make the most perfect doll right away. Make her to the point that you can enjoy her. I've seen people say, oh, I ruined the faceplate. Don't go crazy and ruin your faceplate. Do a simple lip, practice the painting, and just enjoy your first doll. I still have my first doll and I look at her now and it's like, ugh, but I still like her. I mean, she's cute enough as a first doll. So let me go back. So Julie asked, does my college degree have anything to do with design? And it does not. I am an English major. I have a degree in English literature. I taught English for 3 years in Mexico. I still teach now. I teach at the college here. I teach business classes, marketing classes, things like that. So no, it doesn't. But I always loved to read and write and do art as a kid. So I didn't go to art school or anything like that, but I think it's still somewhat related to creativity. So I do think my degree helps me, obviously, with teaching and speaking and all of that kind of stuff. American Girl dolls, I've never owned one, so I can't really say anything about them. I know they're super popular, but I've never owned one or really even been around one. So let's see. So it's not a question, but someone said they would love to see my collection, which is a wonderful suggestion. I've never done my collection video, and I should do that. So I'm gonna write it down. Maybe my next maybe either I'll do another live video or I'll record a video, get my collection set up. I'm trying to think what I would want to show and how I would want to show it, because I do have some cloth dolls back from that period of my life. And I do have a video showing all my Waldorf dolls. So if you're interested in those types of dolls, I already have a video showing that whole collection, and I haven't added to that collection since that video. So I probably would do my BJDs and maybe my baby dolls. So we'll see, but I will definitely do that. That would be a lot of fun. Let's see. Oh, wanted to ask, how did I find the world of Blythe? Okay, so I need some tea. So again, I'd always collected dolls, and so I can't exactly remember how I found Blythe the first time. So in 2007, I got a Blythe doll and a pull-up doll. And I don't remember at the time knowing much about customizing. It was more clothing and wigs. And I remember getting her a wig and an Alice in Wonderland dress from someone who's not making anymore. And then I sold those dolls when I moved to Mexico. So then in 2016, when I came back to it, I'm almost positive it was Pinterest, that I was on Pinterest doing what you do on Pinterest, looking at stuff. You should probably be doing something else. My son was very young. I was in a pretty low part of my life where I couldn't go or do anything. My son was like 6 months old, and I was pretty much trapped in the house, breastfeeding him nonstop. So I was probably just browsing the internet, but I do remember it was Pinterest when I saw maybe not my first Blythe custom, but the first one that made me like, oh, wow, I love this. So I remember just learning more and looking at more and wanting to try it. So that's why I say I had my first Blythe in 2007, but I didn't feel in the world of Blythe at that time, but after seeing a custom. So I am definitely more of a custom Blythe fan than the stock doll. And I feel like that's always like taboo thing to say, but I don't really care to collect the stock dolls in any way. So I don't have any stock dolls. So I'm definitely just a fan of the customs. I can appreciate, now I have the burps. I can appreciate the stock dolls for sure, but it's just not what really made me passionate about them. What I really like about Blythe compared to other doll genres is everyone can participate. So in the BJD community, right, you could do face-ups, but you don't really change the doll. You don't carve it or physically change it. And same with reborns. Even reborns, you are doing basically a face-up or adding hair or whatever, but you're not changing the sculpt. So to me, Blythe is this thing that we can make our own. And I just don't see that really in any other doll genre. And I think that's why it's so popular and people love it so much, because you can be involved at any capacity that you want. You can collect the stock dolls. You can collect them and do light customizations, just change the eyes or the hair or cut the hair. You can make clothing for them. You can go full on customizing them. You can sculpt on the faceplate and actually even change the shape of the faceplate. So I think that's why people are passionate about Blythe, and I've wanted to make a video about that. And so maybe I will make a standalone video about that, because I see oftentimes comparisons to Blythe to the BJD community. And I think that's really what's very different about it, is this idea that everyone can be involved. Let's see. So Elizabeth, yes, I speak Spanish. I would say I speak intermediate Spanish, but it's also been a few years. I've been back in the States for 4 years now. So I'm not going to speak Spanish to you because I'll probably say something wrong. So anyway, yes, I do. Have you customized pull-up dolls? I feel like my nose is running. I hope you can't see it. It's really cold in here. Have I customized a pull-up? Yes, I have. Twice. Well, one time I customized a pull-up, and the other one was a byul, Byul. It was several years ago. I really enjoyed customizing them. The real difference is that, they don't have the string, so they're more like a midi Blythe with just one pair of eyes. And they have wigs, so they don't have rooted hair, which is not my favorite. I really like rooted hair on Blythe because that way you can comb it and you can be more rough with it and it doesn't move. Wigs move. So they're fun though. I really would love to do another one at some point. As far as the make it own the pull-up kits, I've never had one. So the pull-up dolls that I customized were stock dolls that I customized. So I don't know about the kit. Kits have always been a hot topic with Blythe. Why are there not Blythe kits? I don't know. I wish there were too. Wouldn't that be nice? But there's not. So I don't know why not. And I don't know much about the pull-up kit. And what type of Blythes are your favorite? So one of the things that I like about Blythe is, as I said, I really like unique Blythe dolls, which I think is why I really like Bad Rabbit and the other customizer that I don't want to keep pronouncing wrong. So I think for me, and it's part of my customizing aesthetic as well, is I really try to make each doll standalone, unique from the last one. This is not to criticize anyone else that kind of replicates the same face over and over, because there are a lot of customizers that do that. And there is sort of a look that is most popular, or I think might sell best. And it's usually just a very beautiful rosebud lip kind of face. And I'm sorry if the way that I'm saying this offends anyone in any way, because I don't mean it that way. But I personally am drawn to just really, really unique dolls that don't look like any other doll I've seen or that artist has done. So I think that's what attracts me, and that's what inspires me to do Blythe versus Blythe. Is I really want people to try things they haven't tried, and break out of maybe their routine or whatever, because to me that's what's interesting. Other people might not find it as interesting, but to me that's what inspires me. Yeah, so Jenny Wren says, I can't afford to purchase other artists' work, so I learned to make my own. I know that's not a question, but I really like your comment, and I appreciate that, because that's really actually a lot of the reason why I've made all the different types of dolls I made. So I started making reborns because I couldn't afford to buy one. I also maybe am in more of a position now to buy a custom Blythe, but when I got into Blythe, I absolutely was not in any position to spend money on anything. I didn't have a job and I lived with my mother. So it was not a good time. And there was no way I was going to be able to buy anything. So a lot of doll makers, I think, get into making dolls because they can't afford or can't justify spending money. And so selling their dolls is how they participate in the hobby. So I've seen people criticized before for not having collections. And so sometimes I feel, no one has criticized me to my face that I know of, about the fact that I don't have huge collections and I only own 2 Blythe dolls. But the reality is there's a lot of ways to participate in a hobby, and that doesn't mean you have to spend money. Like I said, since I stopped buying dolls years ago, dolls have still found their way into my home through contests that I've won or trades. So I think you can participate in the hobby any way you want to participate in the hobby. And if that means you customize to sell and that's how you participate, fine, great. More the merry. Charisse asks, have you ever customized an icy? I have. I've done one. Um, Sometimes I have to stop and think, did I only do one? I think I've only done one. I really should do another one. She was really popular when I did her. I know there's a video of her somewhere on my channel if you're interested in seeing her. She had pink hair. So, yes, I have, and I really want to do another one at some point. My challenge in this moment is that I have no time to customize. It's taking me about 2 months to finish a doll, and I'm hoping, I say this constantly, but I'm hoping in the next year or two, things are going to slow down for me and I'm going to be able to access more help running my shop. And that's part of the reason why I'm giving up Blythe versus Blythe for right now, and just some other things, because my ideal day would be customizing, not packaging orders, even though I actually kind of love that part. Um, and making clothing and putting together sets. I really do enjoy that creativity. I just wish I was making more dolls. I just wish I even have backlog of other things I've wanted to try. Like I've done a couple Monster High dolls and I'd love to do more of those. I'd like to do reroots, going back to one of the beginning questions. I'd love to do more things like that. I want to do another Palorena doll. I bought a couple. They're sitting here headless, waiting. So I'd love to do just more dolls in general, and hopefully that will happen at some point. Uh, Jenny Wren, yes. As far as I know, this Q&A should stay up. I am somewhat new to live YouTube videos. And so yes, hopefully, I'm pretty sure that it does. The last one I did, and hopefully it does. But yes, you should be able to go back and watch it. So I think I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you all for coming. If you have any last minute burning questions, quick type them in. Otherwise, maybe we'll do this again. It's kind of fun to sit and chat with you guys about just whatever. And if you want more of this kind of real personal connection, again, Blythe versus Blythe, I know I keep saying it. But one of the things, the feedback that I get from a lot of the members there is that it really truly makes them feel like they get to hang out with their friends. And that is my goal. And so I hope you guys had fun kind of hanging out today. And I'll plan another one of these and maybe do a live doll collection video too, because it's a lot of fun. So I hope you're all safe and well wherever you are. Where we are, things are getting better. Yay, people are getting vaccinated and things are opening up. And so I'm hoping in this next year and a half, we're going to be able to get back to being in person and seeing each other, and getting back to playing dolls so that we have our community back. Because I realized this year, I don't know about you all, but I spend a lot of time with the doll community and I miss my doll people. So bye everyone, stay well, and we'll see you again soon.